One time.
Jumping to another fun subject, let's talk about 280E. And I'm guessing most of our listeners, most of our viewers aren't familiar with this specific IRS tax code. So I'm going to ask you to explain it to them, John. But also, I know that many in the cannabis industry feel that it's very unfair to them. So tell us about the 280E. Why is it unfair to cannabis? And also, why should consumers care that it's unfair to the industry that they're purchasing these products from?
Sure. Actually, unfortunately, I am very, very familiar with 280E.
All too familiar, I imagine.
I am all too familiar. So I'm more than happy to explain this to the audience. So in a normal business, well, I suppose outside of the industry,
Traditional business.
You're making some widgets, you have a couple of stores in town, you're selling the donuts or whatever it happens to be. And okay, the issue is that in that business, of course, it cost you, let's just say you sold $1 million worth of donuts at gross. That's your sales. Now you've got your costs. So you get to deduct all of your costs off that $1 million. So that's your lease, that's your staff, the cleaning, the this, that, the other, all the things that sort of went on to make it work, your advertising.
Sure.
Yeah. And all of that sort of thing. So let's just say after all of that was deducted, your gross before tax was $200,000, just to give it a number. That's what you're going to pay tax on. Let's do the same thing with cannabis. You sold $1 million worth of cannabis, you're taxed on $1 million. Get used to it, honey.
And there just aren't those deductions for legal marijuana
effectively,
businesses.
That other business is taxed at about 35%. Cannabis is taxed at probably close to 80 cents on the dollar in a true tax situation. What that is a situation where the public perception, everybody's making $1 million by Friday, and it simply isn't the case. We're glorified tax collectors.
Sure. Yeah.
I think my company has been under almost continuous audit in one form or another for the last 2 or 3 years. It's just
by the IRS.
Yeah,
be
it state, be it federal,
sure.
It's just never ending.
Sounds like a blast.
It's just
no
awesome.
wonder you're so familiar with 280E.
we give them their very own cubicle, and okay,
just go ahead and move in. Here's a sleeping bag.
Yeah, it's and okay, so that's what the industry is faced with at the moment. We're not alone in this. The entire industry and my peers have spoken of the similar sort of situation. So. It's been it's a game of attrition. There's no doubt about it.
And so what's the potential fix to this? I mean, 280E is kind of a leftover. It's a remnant, right, from maybe the Capone era and gangsters, and now it's harming these businesses doing their best to operate legally in this space.
Yeah. It was put in there for drug deals, to declare their ill-gotten gains. And okay, here we are in a state-regulated system, and okay, we would like to be treated as a regular business in the regard of being able to make those tax deductions. And the fix, unfortunately, is a federal IRS fix, and the only true fix to that is, I think, going to be federal legalization in some form or another.
Well, and so federal legalization is very different than just simple rescheduling. Yeah. This is something that's in the distant.
Don't use that word.
Rescheduling?
Don't use that word.
That's what the DEA is working
dangerous
these days.
word.
We'll have you back to talk about rescheduling versus descheduling.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, DEA is supposedly making some sort of a decision here in the next couple
I'm
months.
not holding my breath.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
I can't imagine you're holding your breath about the IRS making
no,
a change
no,
anytime
I'm not doing
soon,
that
right?
either. And at the moment, I'm just collecting the taxes and taking it to the IRS.
You're doing good work, glorified tax collector.